right, we'll wrap up this morning's media availabilities with Mr. Martin Truex Jr., driver of the number 78 Furniture Row Chevrolet for Furniture Row Racing. He has 5 top 5 finishes and 7 top 10s here, and finished 3rd in both Michigan races last season. Obviously a popular win in the NASCAR Nation 2 weeks ago at the Coca-Cola 600. And for the audience today, I know you were one of the drivers who was part of the Goodyear tire test here at Michigan, so you will have tested the package and some of the things that we're going to be trying to do. So can you give us a little bit of a sense of what you took away from that test, what are the rules, and how do you think it'll impact the racing this weekend?
Yeah, sure. It was a short test because of rain, but we did learn a few things, and I think the biggest thing was just off throttle time was more, middle of the corner speed was slower, and end of the straightaway speed was a little faster. So really just more in the same direction we went from last year's package to what we're racing now, and definitely another step in a direction we're all looking for. So should be a lot of fun. I think everybody's really excited and optimistic about the weekend just to see what it's all about and learn about the new package and try to figure it out. So hopefully the racing will be what we hope, and should be a lot of fun.
Well, clearly the package that we're racing right now has been good for you and your team. Tell us a little bit about why that is. Is it you as a driver, you as a team, but clearly Furniture Row and what Martin Truex has done this year with this package has been a success and obviously led to the win. Yeah,
I mean, I enjoy driving the cars more this year with them, just being on top of the track more, just sliding around more. Guys are, we're having to work a little bit harder in the car, and that's been a lot of fun. So, been able to race at most tracks a little bit easier behind cars, get up closer to guys, and this year is the first time in a few years we've been able to kind of get up behind somebody, get close enough to make them loose like you used to do in the old days. So it's been good. I think the racing's been great. We obviously still have some challenges at certain tracks, and you're always going to have that just based on tracks all being different. But pleased with what we've seen so far this year, I feel like, and hopefully, again, like I said, this will be another step in that direction, and hopefully be a lot of fun for everyone.
All right, we'll take questions from the media now. We'll start over here with Mike and next to him, and then we'll go over to Bob after that.
Martin, do you think if you were able to drive for a bigger team again, you'd be any different type of guy, any different type of driver, any different type of approach to your racing?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't know that a big team is really any different than the team I'm racing with now. I love the team that I'm racing with now. I really don't want to think about driving for anybody else. So let's just hope that we don't have to do that.
George Poley, the Macomb Daily. Martin, Sean Robb's a former Michigander, part of your crew at the shop. Could you just comment on how the folks at Toyota, with Sean and some of those guys have been able to make what looks from the outside anyway like a pretty smooth transition?
It's been a really smooth transition. I think smoother than any of us thought. Barney had planned on running the first 10 or so races and just being like so and trying to figure things out. Maybe stumble a little bit until we kind of got everything ironed out. We got the cars built up and kind of got things figured out. But really, we came out of the box strong at Daytona. There's a lot of people to credit for that. Obviously, everybody at Toyota, Dave Wilson, Andy Graves, all those folks, everybody at TRD, and especially JGR. They're obviously a big part of what we're doing. The partnership has worked really well. All their crew chiefs, engineers, really just everyone from coach to the bottom. Really just welcomed in our team, said, here's how we're going to do things. We're going to, open book. We're going to share everything. And that's been a big part of the reason we got off the ground so quick. So it's been, we've just seemed to have good chemistry from both sides, from, crew chief, our owner, Barney, and Joe get along really well. Cole's done a great job, I think, and, even all the other drivers have been great to work with for me. So it's been a lot of fun so far to learn all that stuff, how they do things. We've learned a lot from them, and hopefully, as we go down the road here, they're going to learn something from us. So it's been good, and I feel like the last month and a half or so, we've brought quite a bit to the table. So that's good. Proud of my team for that, and it's just something that's been working really well so far.
Go to Bob, then over here in the middle.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. If you hadn't won at Charlotte, you have gone into Pocono with like a 1 year not having won. Does that play in a driver's psyche, like when you hit kind of like a mark like that? And then also, did you ever worry about your crew, especially after Daytona, just being overly frustrated about not winning?
I actually never thought about how long it had been. We'd been so close, and things are going, have obviously been going well for us. So you just kind of try to focus on that. I think all of us we weren't frustrated at all. We felt like it was kind of weird that it was almost a replay of last year. How we lead all those races in a row and kind of crazy things would happen. But, I think, again, a lot like last year, we looked at all these things. We looked at leading laps and running up front and doing the things we were doing as a positive, not a negative. Yes, we want to win. Yes, we were, somewhat frustrated that we hadn't yet. But I don't think we let it, change our approach or get us frustrated enough that we forgot what we were doing or made mistakes. So glad we were able to pull through in convincing fashion, obviously, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
All right, over to Woody.
Woody came with MRN. Martin, with Father's Day coming up next weekend, I was just curious if you'd tell us a little bit about what a help it was, your dad's experience helping you get to where you are now.
Well, I wouldn't be here without my dad. That's, it's plain and simple. He was, he grew up racing. He was my hero. That's the only reason I knew anything about it, So I can remember going to the track as a young kid, as young as I can remember, probably 4 or 5 years old, to watch him and to learn from him, and just hanging around the garage and the shops that he had over the years, and going to the racetrack. That's what got me into it. And then, I can remember as a young kid thinking I'm going to drive race cars someday, and that was the only thing I ever cared about. That was the only thing I wanted to do. So started racing because of him. Obviously, he owned all the cars I drove up until I got hired to drive for Chance 2 back in 2003. And so without him, I would have never got into racing, and I certainly would have never made it to the level I'm at today. So I owe a lot to him, and have a lot of great memories growing up racing with Dad.
All right, that wraps up today. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate it.
Yep, thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.